Welcome back to a new episode of Sports Inc. along with Mark Gregory. I'm Scott Taylor. It was quite an interesting week last week. I think there were some surprising games across the coverage area and a lot of not so good games. Very few games across the area turned out to be good ones. But let's get right into it. And obviously, you had probably the best game of the week. Obviously, it was game of the week and also probably the best game in the area with JCA at Providence. Talk about that game.
You know, Scott, it was everything it was billed to be. I mean, the first play from scrimmage, 77-yard touchdown from Providence, and I mean, it went from there. Obviously, the game, the whole tide of the game changed when Ty Isaac went out. Not only is he a home run hitter and can score at any point in time, the Hilltopper offense did succeed without him. After they took that kind of shock, they got the passing game going. They did some things, but there's still. Some of those other runs weren't there by the guys. They were running the ball hard. They were getting, but when Ty's there, so many guys have the key on him that it really opens the whole offense up. And so there's so many things that just didn't happen without him being in there. Now he did tweet out last night that he's out 2 weeks. So we'll see what that means. But it looks like he's going to miss. Two pretty easy games on the schedule, and looks like he'll be back for NAS, which is their first real tough match in conference. So that's what he's tweeting out last night. So
now maybe they win the game with Providence. We'll never know, probably. But regardless of winning or losing that game, you can't say the offense was the reason why they lost the game.
No,
I mean the defense has to get better. They could have Ty Isaac. Or not have ties if they're not going to win state championship this year if the defense doesn't get better.
Scott, the lead of my article was the offense picked up right where it did from the state final game. Unfortunately, so did the defense. That pass defense was horrendous, and I know Dan Sharpe even went as far as say he thought the run defense. I mean they just didn't tackle, and he kind of said with their depth they kind of play that game in camp. Do we go full pads and hit hard and risk losing a kid in practice? And they don't because their depth isn't there. They don't go full blown, blow guys up, and that constitutes in the first game where guys aren't ready to hit hard. So it's kind of that catch-22. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You do in practice and be ready for the game. You keep your guys healthy and hope they hit in the game. But
have to change something up though if it's not.
Something's got to fix. And like I said, the defensive backfield was just terrible.
And then the other game, you were at Joliet Central, and Rich Central thought it could be a win for Joliet Central, but unfortunately, came up a little short.
I'll tell you, I mean, they did what they had to do. For the first time ever covering Joliet Central football, I saw a tired team, guys, hanging on their heads, guys on their knees, guys gasping for air, and it wasn't the Steelmen. They put together 2 different 12-play drives, which went from run the ball to little short passes that were very successful. Fortunately, the first one they had, pretty close to the half, cut the lead to 12-6, and 3 plays later, like a 50-yard bomb, put them back up again. They come all the way back, Joliet does, and they cut that lead again to 18-14 because Rich Central could not, they missed the first extra point, they missed every 2-point conversion after that. So they came back 18-14. You figure you have 5 minutes left to stop and a score, you win this game. And then soon kickoff is brought back 87 yards for a score. So the 2 big plays, and really, Rich Central had 1 drive. They had the 2 big plays, and they had another drive that a Joliet Central fumble, started them real short field. So really, I mean, the Steelmen looked better. And now Brett Boyer says no moral victories. The 3rd year, he's not going to take moral victories on this one. But they really did look better, and they're playing a team this week who's went 0 for last year. Beat up on a team this year who's in their first year ever playing football. So we'll see what happens next week. It could be another game that they could be competitive in.
Well, you brought home a pair of defeats.
Yeah.
But up north was where there were no defeats. Our northern paper up in Niles area 4-0. I mean, Maine East even got the win. Niles West got a win. They both played Chicago Public League schools, so I mean it was somewhat expected. But Maine East looked good against Schurz with the pretty dramatic, pretty solid win. And same thing with Niles West against Westinghouse.
Yeah, things. I mean, you put teams on your schedule that are and that's what they should do. I hate seeing teams like a Lamont go and play Little Village, and these teams would just put these teams on their schedule. And on the flip side, I don't like it when you go and schedule. When you're a mid-level team, we're going to schedule some top-tier team and try and get better. That doesn't help you either. If you're not, put a team on your schedule in the offseason that you can compete with. That's going to give you a solid, good game that you can see how you stack up. Both of those games were teams that were relatively even playing field with those guys, and they did what they're supposed to do. They beat them, but so that's a good first start for both of them teams.
Yeah, Notre Dame win over Wilmot, Wisconsin. Nice win there, and Maine South obviously.
We knew that one.
Maine South with Warren. Warren gave them a good game. Warren's obviously a pretty good team, but Maine South's on a mission this year, and they get off to a good start as well.
Yeah, it's and your games too. You had a couple interesting ones, especially that Downer South one. Huh?
Yeah, Downer South on Saturday, 95-degree heat, 3-hour game. I mean, it was a crazy game, 14-6 at halftime. It's like, can this game get any more boring? You're trying to wait. Downer South only scored on a running back pass to Kaylon Miller for 64 yards, and that was just only the beginning. Second half, I mean, it was just lighting up. Downer South scores a couple quick touchdowns. Kaylon Miller had 2 more long touchdown catches, and then South Elgin comes back, and all of a sudden Downer South's defense couldn't stop him, and then Kaylon Miller goes back to return kickoff, and he goes all the way for a touchdown. I mean, it was just back and forth. But the Downer South pass defense was very, very poor, especially in the second half. I mean, I think quarterback was 14-20 in the second half for 220 yards. And what Coach Belska said was, he never remembers a game that they gave up 35. They scored 35 points and lost. And
right.
Losing 48-35 was not a good way to go, and the offense showed promise in the second half.
I think Kaylon Miller said, "Hey guys, you did a story. You did a big story on Ty Isaac and Aaron Bailey and Caleb Bailey. Where was I at, guys? Where'd you put me in this? Yeah, we did a story on the D1 commits. He hasn't committed yet. I think he showed us that, hey boys, I should have been in that story too."
Yeah, 205 receiving yards and a kickoff for a touchdown. I mean, it was a great performance. And the question will be now is how the defenses turn into guard him. And Coach Belska brought up a good point. Hey, they have other weapons. The running backs still gain over 100 yards. And they have other receiving options out there. So, you double team him, they still have other guys that can get the ball. And then the other game I was at, Bolingbrook and Plainfield South. Bolingbrook began their title defense in, I wouldn't say impressive fashion. I mean, Plainfield South hung around them with 33-6 final. But Plainfield South gave them a pretty good game defensively. Bolingbrook had to really earn all their yards offensively. Aaron Bailey, though, I mean, he's bigger and bigger, 6'2", 225. I mean, how does one guy tackle him? It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's nice to see too that you're wearing the Raider skull and crossbones on your arms there. Finally getting behind getting behind the Raiders, huh?
I don't know. I mean, their middle linebacker, CJ Clark, I believe, he had a great game, but there's some work to be done still for Bolingbrook if they want to repeat. They're going to have a long way to go defensively. They're really young. They can improve. They did well defensively, but Plainfield South burned them a couple times deep, and if the throws are accurate, we got a whole different ball game. But they weren't, and that's how Bolingbrook was able to eventually pull away in the second half after another 14-6 halftime game.
Well, there you go. And this week's going to get just as exciting, I think, as last week. I don't see there's some games slated for this week that are going to be just as fun, just as exciting as the ones that we saw.
There's going to be some big playoff bursting games too. Some of these teams have lost the first week of the year. They're going to come back and need this win. They do not want to go into the conference season. Need to win 5 conference games to make the playoffs. So,
especially in our 2 conferences, the SPC and SWSC, where we talk about just a parity in that conference, where there's not, you can't look and say, okay, we can win this. I mean, there's some there's some games in there that teams aren't going to go in there and it's going to be a coin flip.
Yeah, we have 2 big crossover games we're going to talk to you about right after this.
Okay. All right, well, we're back.
No, not yet.
Oh, what?
I was holding my head.
Oh. I know you're holding your own. All right, so and then I'll throw it to you for week 1.
Yeah. For what? For game 1?
For game 1.
Yeah.
Week 2. Yeah. What's that? First time we'll talk about our tire too. Let people know what we're doing. All right, we're back, and before we get to our picks here, I'm gonna tell you guys. You guys might notice, that that we're dressed a little unique today. Scott and I decided to have a little fun with this show. We both have extensive jersey collections, where most guys go to work, salesmen go out there and don't take a bond on, we go out wearing Jared Allen. So we both have extensive collections. So we're gonna come out this week here. Every single week, we're gonna pull out a different NFL jersey for you and let you guys keep Let you guys keep guessing exactly who we're gonna be, whose number and colors we're gonna be wearing that week. So
at least I picked a local guy, Mike Allstott from JCA. He's got a Super Bowl ring too. I don't think Jared Allen's got one of those.
That's right, best rush lineman in the NFL. So, but all that aside, we'll have some fun ones for you guys, this whole entire season. So, but with that aside, Scott, let's get into week 2's picks.
We have Bennett looking to go 2-0. We didn't talk about them, but they had an impressive win in week 1. They're going to South Elgin, the same team as South Elgin team that just beat Downer South. What's going to happen here? Can Bennett get some revenge for the Downers area?
I'm hearing Bennett's for real. They're an improved team. Facebook last night I was talking to some guys and give a little shout out there. Our buddy Mike from the Brook, Mike Luter. He put on Facebook when I kind of talked about the top half of that ESCC conference. He said, "Hey, don't overlook Bennett, guys. They're going to be a good team this year. They might be, and you know what? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll give them this win, and let's take Bennett as gonna go in there. And if they put up a lot of points last week, if Downer South can put up a lot of points at South Elgin, that's open Bennett. Yeah,
but this isn't Washington, Chicago we're talking about here. This is South Elgin, and South Elgin defense obviously can get beat deep. That was proven. But they can score points too. And if I still say Downer South's a better team than Bennett is.
Funny that Bennett's doing this with their one senior quarterback at Downer South throwing all the touchdowns too. So the transfer.
So I gotta go with South Elgin here. I like the way they looked. The quarterback was a decent quarterback. They run a spread offense, but they can also get behind the center. The running back, he was banged up the second half. He had 115 yards rushing in the first half, banged up in the second half. In his 5 or 6 carries in the second half, he still gained another 50 yards. So they're going to be a force to reckon with. I think South Elgin's going to win this one pretty easy. And remember, I did say South Elgin could give Downer South the game last week.
So after only differing last week on 4 games and splitting those 2 and 2, we're picking different here.
11-4 last week, not a bad week.
Both of us 11-4, so we're
not a bad week considering the upsets that were taking place.
We're splitting our first pick here.
I don't know if we're going to split this one though. Downers North at Moore, and Downers North coming off that impressive win over Lockport. Can they go 2-0 and be in good shape for a playoff berth?
Yes, they can. I think Downers North has shown that they turn around. I thought Lockport was going to come out with a lot better showing than that, and Morton I don't think is as good as Lockport. So I'll take the Trojans.
I'm agree with you, and it's really good to see. Our last couple of years here, Downers North really struggled in football. Yeah. It's good to see them come off with a win. I hope they get this one. I think Downers North's going to win as well. And that one I think will be pretty easy. We got Downer South and Lions. This is a big game. This is at Downer South. They took care of Lions last year. Lions, not a bad team, gave Stevenson a good run last week. What's going on here?
Yeah, knowing Coach Belskis, those mistakes that were made last week are not going to be made again. He's a coach, been around for a long time, knows what he's doing. There's guys out in our coverage area. We have a lot of them who know football. He's definitely right up there in the picture in the top of the class. He's gonna have the Mustangs ready. They'll roll.
I don't know about rolling. I think this is gonna be a great game, but I do think Downer South has got enough talent to get the job done. But they're gonna need to fix a lot of mistakes from last week. I don't know if they can turn that much around in a week, but I think they'll turn it around enough to get this win. But I think by the end of the year, Downer South's gonna be a team to be reckoned with again. Both got that one. What about much talk JC and Robeson? I think it's a mismatch whether Ty Isaac's in the game or whether anybody's in the game for JCA, the starters.
Yeah, Robeson. That's one that basically even Ty wasn't hurt. He'd probably be out in the first quarter anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, JC will romp in that one pretty easy. Say that one. Let's go with JCA or Joliet Central at Revis. This is another chance for Joliet Central to have a good game and maybe pull out that first win.
I'm going to take them again. I took them last week on blind faith. Now I saw them this week, and last week I really saw that some promise there. And like I said before, Revis, the team that was 0 for last year, they beat Solario Academy out of the public league, like 54-28 or something like that last week. And Solario Academy is a school been around since 2010. And just decided this year, hey, we're going to have football, guys. So they, after a couple of years, they didn't do what most schools do, where they start the programs, as freshmen, sophomores, and build up, and then go varsity after 3 years. They had no football for 2 years, and all of a sudden, said this year, hey, let's have it. So, that's a team that, I think we could probably put together a team of guys, around the office and beat them. So,
Revis still won that game, though. You have to remember that they still won. And Jason,
and then I was
coming off. Well, you can think of it two ways, or they have more confidence in Joliet Central. You can think of it two ways. I think this is going to be a very close ball game. But I'm kind of going back and forth in this game. But I'll pick Joliet Central, local team. I hope they get the win. This is probably going to be their best chance the rest of the year to pick up a win. So let's hope they get that done. What about Maine East and Edmondson? Edmondson coming off a loss to Plainfield Central. Can Maine East go 2-0 against Chicago Public League schools?
Yes. We said before, we saw Mike St. Louis' pictures out there, I don't think that one guy wearing Adamson red there sitting in the background of the photos is going to be much of a cheering section for them. So, I see Maine East going in there and win again.
I was actually at Maine East, but I do think Maine East as well is going to win this game. I think they're going to go 2-0, and I think they're going to, they got Maine West on the schedule, and a conference that's not overly strong. 3-4 wins.
Those Corey boys might turn this program around.
Maybe they can sneak into that 5-4 playoff record, but unfortunately they're not going to have very many conference points to make the playoffs. But I do think Maine East is going to win this one and go 2-0, and it'd be a great story. What about Notre Dame at St. Pat's? This conference game, early season conference game in the ESCC.
Like I said last year I picked against Notre Dame a lot. But I picked them in the tough part of the conference. I say they'll beat St. Pat's.
This is a big game for both teams, kind of see where they stand at St. Pat's on a Saturday morning. Not used to playing 11 a.m. football games. So we'll see how Notre Dame does, new quarterback. But they were impressive week 1. They had James, a running back, and I think Notre Dame's going to get this one done, go 2-0, and have a lot better start than last year when they were 0-3.
I think St. Pat's, Notre Dame, and Bennett are going to be battling for kind of, you have your top team with JCA, NAS, Marist, Carmel. Then you have that then you have your bottom grouping with Vida and everything. I think you're going to see Bennett, St. Pat's in there, and Notre Dame battling for that next playoff spot after the top tier. So this is a big game.
It is. You saw last year Notre Dame got the 5 wins, and that this is one of those games that probably going to need to win with those 4 teams you mentioned. It's going to be hard to beat any of those 4 teams. So big game early in the season, but I'm going to go with Notre Dame as well. Now we're all of a sudden we're all liking each other's picks. What about Lyle and Herscher? Herscher took down Westmont last week. Yeah, they're going to take down Lyle this week.
Yeah, again, you're talking to just bigger school in Herscher, and I think they'll get to the win.
Yeah, I agree. It's a tough situation for Lyle to be in, but they are playing at home, which gives them an option, gives them a chance. And both Lyle and Westmont played their bigger brothers well last week, only losing by a couple touchdowns each. But I'm going to go with Lyle in this one, because I think Westmont's a better team than Lyle, so I think that's why it's going to be hard for Lyle to get that win. Speaking of Westmont, they host Plano this week. They used to be both in the small division. Plano started dominating. They got moved up. Plano going to dominate this game?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Plano's again. Just like again, I said it last week. I say it again. You split these groups for a reason. There's no reason to put them together in preseason, and Plano's going to get that win.
Yeah, I think so. I picked Westmont last week. I'm going to take a safe pick this week and go with Plano. I think Westmont can win that game. Next week they'll start playing their small IA teams, and maybe. So next up we have Niles West and Niles North, a big game here. Niles West has a chance to make the playoffs with this win. Can get him started. What do you like about this game?
I like Niles West. The last year was a baseball score, like 2-0 or something like that. It was a ridiculous little score. I see more of a football game here, but I see Niles West come on top.
Yeah, this is a big game for both teams. Try to get to get that momentum going. I think this is a great chance for Niles West to go 2-0 in the conference, or 2-0 to start the season. And I'm going to pick Niles West as well. And then that leads us into Plainfield Central and St. Charles North. Great game last year, one of the best games of the year. Last second block punt for Plainfield Central, scoring a touchdown. Are they going to do it this year?
No, they're not going to block the punt to win the game late. They're going to roll over St. Charles North. They're going to come out. They're going to come in the game early. They're going to come in the game often. They're going to run the ball. They're going to pound the ball, and they're going to just control the game. The Wildcats won't need a block punt late in the game to win it this year.
Yeah, all the SPC struggles with them. Plainfield Central and the SPC was one of the SPC schools to win 3-5 in the conference. It was a conference last week. Plainfield Central definitely had the most impressive performance of the week, and I think they're just going to cruise through this game too. They're a lot better than last year. St. Charles North, I don't know how much better they are than last year. So I like Plainfield Central here. That leads us up to our we have three crossover games. Let's see kind of a little SPC, SWSC challenge. Challenge, yeah. So,
not going to be much of a challenge.
Well, maybe one of them might not be, but we got Lockport, Plainfield North. We've only had one differential so far. Are we going to agree on this one? I don't think so.
You just picked your alma mater. I'm taking mine. Plainfield North. I thought they were going to roll over Bradley. They didn't. They have guys back. They have a team back. And I don't know how good Bradley is. Maybe they're a great player. I don't know, but they have guys back who you thought would have been ready to play this game. Lockport's replacing a lot of guys over there on that team. Give them a week under their belt. While I don't think the Porters are going to be that good, I don't think they're going to be that playoff team this year. I think they are going to even they're off the record this week and take off Plainfield North.
This is a big game for both teams. The loser of this game is going to have a really hard time making the playoffs. To go 0-2 in the non-conference schedule with a lot of evenly matched teams or really good teams in conferences, depending on how you think of it. But Lockport's got the Lincoln Way East and Homer Flossmoor and.
If Lockport loses, they're out of the playoffs. They go 0-2, they're out. Plainfield North, on the other hand, with what I've said is just an SPC that I believe is going to be Plainfield North and everybody else Plainfield Central here and everybody else battling. I think anybody can come out and win. Win 5 games. The rest of that way. So the SPC it's not maybe as big of a game for Plainfield North because they could grab a couple wins there, but for Lockport it's definitely a must-win.
I think Plainfield North wins this one. It was a close game last year. Plainfield had plenty of chances to win. Lockport pulled it away. Lockport, I just don't see them being as good as they were last year, and I think Plainfield North is at least as good as they were last year, if not better. The Bourbon Egg game, both teams are going to be coming to this game fuming because both teams expected to win last week and beat those teams last year, so they're both going to be mad, so throw that out the window of who's going to be having more revenge on their mind or whatever. But I think Plainfield North can be the better team in this game. I think they're going to get one done for the SPC. And speaking of SPC, we have another one. Plainfield South and Joliet West at Plainfield South. Plainfield South owned the series. With Joliet West dating back to when there's Joliet. I don't know. I don't see it changing, do you?
Yeah, I do. Joliet West, I wasn't able to be there last week. From what I hear, Joliet West was as advertised. The way that they came in advertised this year with their athleticism, it was advertised. They played that way, and you saw Bolingbrook kind of roll over Plainfield South. And I'm not saying that Joliet West is as good as Bolingbrook, but I know the McGee brothers are just right here in Joliet playing for St. Francis. Unless they can get them extra year eligibility, I just don't see them having the athletes this year to match up to Joliet West.
The big key for me is if Joshua Harris is going to play. He had a big touchdown run, the only score for Plainfield South against Bolingbrook. He's kind of a difference maker. He's got the speed. He can break past defenders, and they had some open plays against Bolingbrook they could have capitalized on. It would have been a different game. So I think they're going to capitalize on a couple of those this week. To me, Joliet, when they were one school, couldn't beat Plainfield South. Now they split into two schools. How do you expect them to beat Plainfield South? I don't see that happen. I do think it's going to be a close game. I think Plainfield South, when push comes to shove, that defense is a very good defense. Joliet West is not going to be able to move the ball on them the way they did against Thornridge. So, I'm going to go with Plainfield South this one. Clifton Garrett's going to be a force defensively, and I think they're making enough plays in the secondary to pull off Joliet West, but definitely you're not going to be able to run the ball well. Aaron Bailey couldn't even run the ball that well. He only won a couple of big plays in that game. And I don't see Aaron Bailey lining up for Joliet West.
Bolingbrook still. But Bolingbrook, you gotta understand, they're not a team that wants to hit the home run on you. They would rather get 5 yards to carry. Yeah, Bailey can break the.
We're not doing it on purpose, though.
Right, but
after 5 yards, go down, take a knee.
But Joliet,
Maurice Jones drew it.
Joliet West is built for the home run. They have those athletes. And the last couple of years, it was.
Does the blocking.
Last couple of years, it was athletes versus athletes. Where Plainfield South had the upper hand with McGee's, with Dontrell Wright. Joliet West, those kids were young. Cameron Hargrove and Corey Rogers, they've been on this field now since sophomores. They were those athletes who were 2 years younger than those other guys. Now, this is the year that Plainfield South lost all those guys. Joliet kids are all seniors now, and this is a year that rivalry flips around, and athletes versus athletes again. But the veteran athletes now are wearing black and yellow.
Well, we'll see about that. It's going to be quite interesting, though, see if Plainfield can get 2 wins and boost the SPC's cause, which you've been downplaying them all the SPC so far this year after just 1 week.
One week starts trend. I said it before.
That sets up the game of the week. Bolingbrook, Romeo, another SPC, SWSC. Unfortunately, I don't think this one's going to be the competitive nature that the other two will, which I think at least we both agree that the other two are going to be competitive. But this one, it's going to be tough without Jacob Van Buell. Romeo, quarterback, got a concussion. So they were playing running back and a lineman, basically, at quarterback last week with Caleb Bailey and Miguel Ford. So you think Romeo can score some points this week?
No, no offense.
They're gonna be out there this week.
No offense to the Spartans. Trust me, I'm as big of a Jeff Kuna fan as there is. But there's not one other kid in that whole entire school that can play a quarterback position. Not to say that we saw a couple of kids out there when we were out there practicing, that were warming up and playing a position. So I don't know if guys were ineligible, if they were hurt, if they were out of town for for family business, whatever the deal was. I don't know, why they didn't just insert other, unless, and again, I wasn't out there, unless it happened to the point where
they played a few plays,
right? I don't know if it happened late in the game when the score was kind of already out of hand, and why.
Well, Van Buell got hurt in the first quarter.
Okay, it's out early. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why then they didn't. But I don't know. If you can't put a real quarterback in there, you're definitely with Jacob Van Buell, it was gonna be tough. Without Jacob Van Buell, it's gonna be just
one more game.
Bloody mess.
WSC versus SPC game of the week. Renewing the rivalry, Bolingbrook and Romeoville. Fortunately, no Jacob Van Buell, I don't think, for Romeoville after a concussion last week, and that leads us to who knows who's going to be playing quarterback. Miguel Ford and Caleb Bailey got in the action at quarterback a little bit last week, so fortunately not looking good for the Spartans.
No, it's not. And I've said it before that we'll talk more at length next week after my feature comes out. This is a game that shouldn't be played. The district's forcing this one on the two teams. Romeoville's an up-and-coming program. They don't want to play state champs. Bolingbrook is a top-tier program. They want to keep playing the Belleville East of the world and help them get better. This isn't something that should be played, and unfortunately the score is going to show why.
Yeah, I think so too. It's gonna be. I think it should be played. It's a crosstown district rivalry, but given the circumstances, it makes it a little bit harder. Not every year is Bolingbrook going to be this good and Romeoville be rebuilding like this. There's going to be some years where it's going to be a lot better chance of being competitive this year, though it's probably not going to be that year, unfortunately, especially with Van Buell's injury. The chance they had is dwindling a little bit, so I think Brook's going to win this one pretty easily as well.
Yeah, they will, and we'll talk a little bit more about the rivalry, next week after I get some comments from the kids and coaches for my feature story. So. Yeah,
until then, we hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see who's the king this week, SPC or SWSC. If Plainfield teams can win, the SPC will have that one, and you can go wear yourself a SPC shirt next week.
I told you that. If the SPC goes 2-1 against the SWSC, I'm buying lunch here at Giovan's.
Well, you just do that, and I'll be expecting. I won't eat breakfast next Tuesday morning then, so you can treat me to that. But that's all the time we have now. So until next week, we'll see you out there, and you can follow our picks and see who's the champ this week. Until then, take it easy.